Oh god, this is gonna be a bloodbath over there. Well, I'm rooting for you, Alpha. I think I'm just gonna be playing against myself again. I do want to do some practice, and more specifically, I want to try aggro again. Uh, I've already decided that mid range is is the style for me and anything at this point. It just suits me best to be in the middle. I'm gonna keep practicing Mugen as well. I really hate aggro in in any card game. I come from a game. I come from this very special game called Yu-Gi-Oh, where even if you're not an aggro deck, games only last 2 turns at most. And a game that lasts that long, or just anytime you're up against a stun player, and stun still wins in turn 2 at most. In fact, if they go first, they win on the spot most of the time, as long as they don't brick. It's just people are stubborn. If they don't see lethal, they think they still have a chance. But that's just not how Yu-Gi-Oh goes. Your first 5 cards determine the rest of your game. Ah, anyway, enough about me complaining about how slow we cross is. Uh, I'm gonna be building a new deck. I don't think it's gonna take that long because I think this one's gonna be fairly straightforward. What does Carnival do? There's only one Carnival. It's red at least. Card a card, once per turn. This lurid attacks can draw, enter, or put target signy on your opponent's field to the trash. Guaranteed removal, but only after the Lurig attack phase. That is super slow. Red deck trying to play slow doesn't bode well. Once per game, make up to 2 target signy on your opponent's field, serve at 0. Yeah, Red Carnival's fucking mid-range. What the hell? Warrior Carnival. Put up to 2 target war division signy from your trash into your inner zone. Huh. She plays with war division. This one's a lot faster than I've read the war divisions. Add target war division signy from your inner zone to your hand. Gain 5 coins. You can only pay 1 coin for spells and signy for the duration of the game. That's strange. It says you can only pay, so this is a restriction, not a benefit. It's not saying everything from this point on costs 1 coin. It's saying if anything costs more than 1 coin, you can't play them. Damn, nice boobs. Nice boob, I guess. How does this work? Okay, yeah, she has a separate green carnival signy thing. Weird. Any reason why she'd suddenly decide to be green? This looks to me like the a Disana build would be the best way to go about it. I think I don't know what else can you do with Servant Zero. Isn't there like a defensive assist rig that does that? Yeah, those were the Yeah, this thing, it's a weird thing because X is already in the game, and it's just what X does is just way better than whatever the hell this is. Arguably, this could be really good in like stall strategies. Turning everything into a dud token that can't be energized, and then just choosing not to attack. I don't know. It's interesting, but not the best red colored thing. I say. Oh wow, they finished. Maybe I can get a game in off of them. I was gonna just play against myself, but not the most fitting music when playing against Mugen, I say. Oh come on, don't be like that. Then anyway, enough distractions. Let's see here. If I remember correctly, her name is Lalaru, and she's electronics slash spell focused, which again should make it relatively easy for me to decide. Oh, sure, gotta fill. I mean, I should just search, right? Because like, I'm not confident. Craft. Who's Lalaru? I am a fan of post-anime original content, but yeah, I got demolished by her a little while back. I am a big fan of her playstyle. She's really aggressive. Not a lot of arts for her. Wait, at the beginning of your attack phase, target one of your electronic signi until end of turn. It awakens, and or you may pay one red and one of anything else. You do, it gains double crush. Once per game, unchain target one of your red until end of turn. Your opponent's Till end of your opponent's next turn, it gets assassin and shadow. Essentially, guaranteed 1 point of Signy damage, which is pretty dang good. That's all about what we can get out of our Signy. We can, if we go the Diva build format, I'm thinking Melaloon and somebody else. Because Melaloon is the electronics specialist, assist Larig. But I'm a little tired of the of the diva builds. I want to build something that isn't like that. Let's start off with just the red electronics. Blanket code heart. As long as there is a spell in your trash, this Signy gets +3 power. For the top 5 cards, reveal any number of cells, add them to your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your deck. Discard a card for each card added to your hand this way. Pretty good. Once a red black. Doesn't do anything. Yeah, Lalaru's an upcoming card. At the beginning, choose one of the following. If you use the red spell this turn, target one of your opponent's Signy. Power 3 or less. Vanish. If this Signy is awakened, target one of your opponent's Signy. And it's really good mid-game option. And it is a very great benefit to choosing to go pure rather than diva. That way, limit upper gives you an immediate +2. Ever Designi attacks. If you use a spell this turn, target one card. Opponent's enter zone. Put it into the trash. Got a really good life burst as well. On a level 1. Not sure how to feel about that. The beginning of your attack phase, target one card from your opponent's enter zone that doesn't share common color. Put it into the trash. If this Signy is awakened, instead target up to 3 cards from your opponent's enter zone that doesn't share common color. Them into the trash. Lots of enter tomfoolery. Rice cookers, very good. Definitely adding that. A lot of things that gain benefits when they're awakened. They have no way to awaken on their own, which means they're essentially the only way to play them is with Lalaru. And our fucking is vital. Oh, this is the boss monster. Or Signy. Thirteen is very good number. Could be worth it. That is hard jockey. Oh hey Lalaru. More removal going second. Right, let's see the entire electronics list now. 76 total, and pretty much every color seems to be represented. I'm most interested in are the greens that we can choose to play. Box, there's a spell you trash, the attack phase. If the Signy is awakened, target one of your opponent's Signy with R12 or more. How unsubtle. Doesn't seem worth it. I want to use one of these arts. These make no sense. I don't get what kind of collab happened. Right, next, let's look at the spells. Probably just the generic removal, right? Or maybe this new upcoming card. Target one of your electronics and until end of turn it awakens. Wow, how unsubtle. You want a good bunch of spells. Where's the thingy that just removes? Not you. Roaring Blazing? Yeah, I think so. Any green spells worth playing? I don't. Yeah, nothing else is worth playing. Just gonna max out on these two and hope for the best, I suppose. And potentially, we could play one of the greens. The generic good ones from here. Not you. Green's a little hard to pay for. Oh, a bunch of people showed up while I wasn't looking. Like the lag's a little intolerable. Could consider some of the level 2 that don't have any effects but have really powerful life bursts. Typically not a fan of playing those, but when you're playing aggro, they're more than worth it more often than not. I don't think there's anything from the green that's worth running at level 3 that's generic. I think I should just focus on the reds. Hmm. And I'm pretty much running all the good level 1s already. Probably just lands a lot. Right, these are the cards to consider. Honestly, all of our green choices are pretty bad in my opinion. I'm not sold on this. If we end up having too many life bursts, I might cut one of those. Ah, sure, I never saved that fight I did. A little bit of inspiration can help. Well, salvage. Are we also playing blacks? We are. I guess there is that red black thing, right? That one's pretty good. But we survived the onslaught and win here. They just straight up surrendered. Yeah, perhaps playing black is what I should be going for as the sub strategy rather than green. Could have sworn the person I fought used green. This is clearly for Paraluck. This Signy looks like she came right out of freaking Titus 2. Is it just me? There's no unifying strategy. I'm not happy with this. Eh. I'm no innovator at the end of the day, I suppose. I don't think I can find anything online at the moment. Phantom Fun Box. Hey, Nanashi. White, black, green. The hell is this? Erase one of your opponent's Signy zones until end of your opponent's next end phase. That's crazy. And expensive. Oh, shirt. I still have that. Not playing Mugen. And you get cold feet. Lalaro. Should I be worried about getting milled? Hand rip? I don't think so. We're playing Red Blue Liberation Division and Electronics. I guess Yelan right now is just experimenting with Lalaru. He feels worth it, so I dig it. keep forgetting about this. They picked the free cost thing, they should just summon it. They refuse. Fortunately, all of my level 1s are at the bottom now.
a reaction here to Pharma. There's always drama on the internet, and it's another aging duelist here, the YCS Champerino. He disagrees with Josh. Josh says Yu-Gi-Oh! Bad game. He didn't say that. But TLDR, he said that. But he didn't say that. But he kind of said that. Trev says Yu-Gi-Oh! Good game. And we all know that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a game. Truthfully.
If Konami banned every single floodgate in Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now, Yu-Gi-Oh! players will still find a way to complain. They would complain that there's not enough floodgates, even though we just banned it. So then Konami brings back floodgates. Yes, that is floodgates. So then Yu-Gi-Oh! players will complain that there's too many gates. So then Konami will go ahead and ban every single interruption. Then Yu-Gi-Oh! players will complain that there's not enough interruptions. So they'll bring back the interruptions. Then people will complain that there's not enough hand traps. There's too many hand traps. What more? More. And then players will complain.
The memes have more audio and volume than than Trev speaking.
Then what are we gonna do? Keep banning good cards until we're left with Giant Soldier of Stone and Celtic Guardian?
Yo, base.
You can never make Yu-Gi-Oh! players happy. Yu-Gi-Oh! players will complain every single year, no matter what. Dating back to when I had a full set of hair, Yu-Gi-Oh! players still complain.
Oh my! Or you didn't have to kill him like that.
You can never make Yu-Gi-Oh! players happy. In 47 matches I've played at 3 YCSs, guess how many times I got.
Okay, before he moves on to the next point here, he's kind of just using like a kind of sort of slippery slope fallacy, isn't he, right? So like, criticizing Yu-Gi-Oh! Is futile because people will simply criticize it more even if you adjust according to those criticisms, and then from that secondary point, more people will just criticize about those points, and then you know, like he said, you're just lowering the power of the format, lower and lower and lower until you're basically playing with like vanillas again.
I was gonna say Miji Sanji,
So,
but this is Blue
from
Art.
a community feedback perspective type thing, in terms of like, you know, power of the format and like complaining, you sort of have to like, from a game design perspective, decide like, okay, what is a adequate amount of power that is justifiable in the game, right? And how far down does it, I'm making this, this shouldn't be a graph to be fair. The power level of the game is like up here.
Okay, I need.
And then if you lower it to like down here, then you kind of have to ask yourself like, okay, are we done with the complaints? There comes a point where feedback is valuable, but at which point do you have too much feedback, right? So there's a balance between, yeah, there's too many floodgates in the game, there's too many nod games, Yu-Gi-Oh! Isn't fun to watch because it's solitaire, go first, coin flip, etc., etc. You have to give some leeway, because there is good points for why Yu-Gi-Oh! Isn't fun or enjoyable to watch from the advanced modern perspective. And there's legitimate criticisms that can be afforded to that. I just think that, you know, yeah, people are always going to be unhappy. People are always going to complain. But you need to, like, as a game designer, as a company, you have to be able to differentiate between loud minority and silent majority. That's always, like, the hardest thing, right? In anything that involves a community, there's always going to be conflicts. There's always going to be, like, you know, criticisms, feedback. It's just how much of that is justified and how much of it is just general toxic negativity. There is a point, there is a power level, there is a number, there is a percentage somewhere in the level of where Yu-Gi-Oh! Is in terms of its power, where it's okay and adequate, despite the fact that there will be complaint. But yeah, people are going to complain no matter what, but it's like, again, where's the silent majority, where's the loud minority?
That once in top, I watched his Anaheim once. So if me, the player that could have won back to back YTSs for the first time in Yu-Gi-Oh! History is telling you to stop blooming about floodgates when I lost to a floodgate in top 8. That was the one time I got hit with the real floodgate in 47 matches. Droll and Emir do not count as floodgates. There's something that you.
Excuse me? Evair does not count as a floodgate.
should be prepared for. If you're gonna
Oh, there's no way. There's no way. Oh my god. Oh, where's the classic? With all
Okay,
due
but
respect.
with all due respect, how are you not prepared?
There it is! Okay guys, but with all due respect, how are you not prepared for mine at this point? It's a little ridiculous to not have a well thought out plan when entering a tournament. How are you not prepared? How are you not prepared? It's a good point.
I have no idea what you do.
I don't understand this logic. And I'm gonna just, like, bluntly admit and say that I'm a very good analyst. When I was casting for the game and stuff and going to YCSs, I think I'm very good at asking questions and very good at having players express themselves on camera and tell people how they built their deck, how they came up with their strategies, what they thought about their plays during games. So I'm very good at deciphering when people speak but maybe mean another thing. I don't know what Trip is really trying to say here. I think he's like arguing that because it isn't a card that just plants itself on the field and sticks down like a Mystic Mine, that it's like therefore not a floodgate because it only lasts a turn. It feels like that's kind of what he's saying. And as someone who's not currently in tune with the current meta in the TCG, I feel like I'm just we'll have to probably say first and foremost, again, I don't know exactly how this format is playing out because I don't play the TCG. However, I have played the TCG for long enough to tell you that for me, personally, why I quit playing Modern is because format after format, year after year, you play a meta deck, you play the best decks in the format, you have decent mirror matches, some of the format is good, some of the back and forths are really fun and enjoyable, but every single format, without fail, the community collectively says, this format would be perfect if X, Y, and Z wasn't legal. And then the next format, they hit those cards when they're no longer problems, and then everyone in the community says, this format would be perfect if they just banned A, B, and C. After so many formats, and after so many years of playing Yu-Gi-Oh! The TCG, when I keep dealing and playing in a game where the side deck is 50% blowout cards, they're 50% floodgates, or there's some like really auto-win dumb interaction, I've decided to stop playing the TCG because it is no longer fun to keep saying, well, the format is good if we ignore all of these problematic cards. Troll, D-Barrier, the FTK, Go First, auto-win combo that Trip lost to himself, they exist too often and too much in the game that it takes away from the skill of Yu-Gi-Oh! And from the actual interactivity of the game that I enjoy. Sure, the best players keep winning, the best players keep topping, and the best players will always do well in the game. Variance-wise, if you play enough Yu-Gi-Oh!, if you're a good player and you play perfectly, you're still going to win about 80% of your games, right? But there is, in my opinion, too much variance. There are too many games that are non-games. There are too many games where, sure, if I play 100 duels, I'll win 80 of them. I still think that 20 is too big of a number. Just throwing out random numbers and stats there, who knows what the actual ratio is these days. I think that cards like Droll, D-Barrier, historically, throughout all of the history of Yu-Gi-Oh! Maxi and Master Duel, I think they are too common and too often in the game where I just don't want to sit down for 50 minutes and lose 20 out of 100 games completely out of my control. I think lower power formats and alternative formats have less of that. It's a card game, there's always going to be variance. That's why I personally don't play. And I feel like Trev arguing that there is no problem when almost every feature match at the YCS, most recently in Anaheim, was a significant portion of non-games is a little bit unreasonable for him to argue.
Troll, but this is a fun game, man. Do you have any idea? Any Yu-Gi-Oh! Player that trolled or D-Barrier more than me? I've probably been hit with Troll and D-Barrier more than any human being in the universe ever. Dating back to my pendulum days. And they are not, like, if you're not dealing with them, that's a huge problem. Play young events, you can deal with both. So the dooming and glooming about fun games, it just...
Play a different deck is unironically not a bad argument. I know it sounds like really on the face, like almost like the Jesse tweet of like, with all due respect, how are you not prepared at this point? If you hate a certain card so much that it makes you not want to play the game, maybe it is like better to just pick a different archetype. Maybe you should, like, there are other decks in the format you can play. To some extent that is correct, that is true. But the issue is, like, there are too many floodgates that ought to win generically against most decks, irrespective of the archetype, right? That's kind of the issue, you know? Like, yeah, how do you prepare for D-Barrier? I mean, some decks lose harder than others to D-Barrier, to Droll, etc., etc. But I just think they're way too common and too prevalent to really use this argument, I feel.
It's not real. People will complain regardless. This is the best Yu-Gi-Oh format we've ever had. I'm not just saying this because I won. You want to know why I won 2 YCSs and top 8 in the other 3 back to back to back? You want to know why? Let me tell you why. Because I have so much fun playing Yu-Gi-Oh! This format. That even when I lose, I win. I'm having so much fun. I played 1,000+ matches. 1,000+ matches this season. From August.
Okay, so now on like a positive note here, Trip is the type of guy who just loves the game, and it doesn't matter how shit the game is, he will just enjoy the game, right? It's like Judeo and Mastodon. Mastodon ranked is garbage, it sucks, I don't know how anyone enjoys that stuff. But he will make it feel like and seem like, from how much he just loves the game, how good it is, right? There are just some people who just love something, and I respect that, I really do. I wish I could have that, love and passion for something, no matter how crap it is, like Trev does for the TCG and Judeo does for Mastodon. But ultimately, I feel like they are kind of a minority in this regard, right? I do think that there's a bit of this, you know, for the average person who, you know, isn't unemployed, and can just play thousands of hours of Yu-Gi-Oh! There's only so much time in the week to be able to dedicate to your hobby. And if, like, 15% of the games in your hobby is just you sitting there waiting to, like, pass your turn because you've been rolled or D-barriered, it's like, you can understand why some people just don't want to do that and go through that.
To now, since Yummy came out, I might have cleared 5 figures numbers, 10,000 maybe matches, more matches than I can think of. And you want to know why I play that many matches? Because I have never had more fun playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Than Yummy format. Ever. That's why I've been winning, because I've been enjoying playing Yu-Gi-Oh! So much. So rather...
Look how much he loves Mastodon. Apo not getting banned was the worst mistake this game has ever made. A lot of games that had potential to be interesting are ruined because the new decks can also summon it really easily. Last format was already not great, and somehow it got worse. And to make matters worse, I'm pretty convinced the best deck in the new format is Malice again. Alright, well, the day Judeo cracks over Mastodon is, you know, hell freezing over. So, give it a couple weeks, I suppose. Trip's gonna give us the same equivalent for TCG.
Than you guys complaining about every little thing forever. Why don't you guys just shut the hell up and enjoy what is the best format we've ever had? No one is playing Ryzeal fucking Protoss. What are you people are complaining about floodgates. Like, with the exception of Alex, my boy that beat me in top 8. Congrats, but like, well, no one is
except the guy who knocked me out from the tournament. Who's playing that?
playing Protoss. What are you guys realistically, like you watching this video right now, do not over-exaggerate. Really think about this. At the last YCS you went to, how many times were you hit with Mjolnir? How many times were you hit with Protoss? Fossil Dynet does not fucking count as a floodgate. You simply activate any hand trap. You could have 20 hand traps in your deck. You hand trap Galen Granny. That deck, Mitsurugi cannot protect the Galen Granny. It doesn't have dual drive cross to protect the Banshee Surge, right? You simply use any hand trap ever created. This is not
him saying it's not a floodgate because it's beatable with any generic card doesn't change the fact that it's a floodgate. That it's not a floodgate. Like, Mystic Mine isn't a floodgate if you draw MST, you know, like, what is this? I really respect Trev, but he's not very, articulate, is what I'll say. He's not the most, eloquent when it comes to describing concepts and, things like that.
like just draw the out, bro. You have 20 fucking outs in your deck. I made the judgment call for these YCSs that FTK style decks don't exist. That's what I enter with.
He's just explaining it really badly. Like, in some ways he's correct. Yeah, like if you study the actual play pattern of the deck, it doesn't actually have a way to interact with the protection of the granite. So any form of disruption on granite will just sort of, you know, negate the aspect of being floodgated. But ultimately that doesn't change the one aspect of the game, And it doesn't really change the fact that we are putting yourself in a position of just draw the out. And floodgates really do entice that type of gameplay of just draw the out. Like that is how floodgates work. They are draw the out situations. Yeah, sure, you might have 20 outs in your deck, but they're not interactive cards. They're not like fun gameplay related cards, you know, for the most part.
Hand traps. But a lot of you entered with hand traps. If you simply play 20 hand traps, none of these FTK stuff is a problem. I have no problem with the format right now. I actually love the format. And I would love all floodgates to be banned. I would love all floodgates to be banned. But guess what? Whether they're banned or whether they're...
Okay, so what is the point of this video? We agree, right? So what are we talking about here? Yeah, the floodgates should all be banned. I would love if all the floodgates should be... Okay, cool. End the video. What is there to discuss? The thing that he's going to continue discussing is that despite the fact that there's no floodgates in the format, the game is still fun, the format is still enjoyable, which is fine and understandable from his perspective, but I can probably hazard a guess that there is a significant player of the portion of the player base who maybe isn't on the brink of quitting. Maybe you're on a bit of a hiatus right now, maybe they're on a bit of a break, maybe they're waiting until the next round list, maybe they're waiting until the next set, maybe playing other games. It can be pretty seasonal in that regard. I mean, we'll just have to see how like the next YCS numbers are like. But ultimately, I think like minimizing the problem because there are outs to the problem, I just don't think is logically sound.
Oh man, I will win regardless. It's still the most fun I've ever had, and winning makes it even more fun, but that's not why. It's because I've had so much fun this format that I'm winning. You guys should try it. But I'm dooming and glooming. Why don't you just play Yu-Gi-Oh and have fun? You actually recognize that this format...
Josh is playing, no? That was like Josh made a whole video because he's watching the games of the YCS, he's playing himself, and he's doing the worlds right. I feel like Josh has a point, no? If anyone has something to say, be him, right?
Best it's ever been. And if you think having curious too...
You think it's like Stockholm Syndrome? Bro, trust me, it's fun, bro. You need to... Fun, bro. You have to, like, I promise you this format's fun. You just gotta try, bro. Like drugs, you know? I'm just don't work depressed.
Cards too. Red Holly. Last format. Like, if you think Habakiri is too broken, maybe have a look at your best cards in your deck if you think that Habakiri is broken. Habakiri is a great card. It's an incredible card. Yes. And you actually would not even be having this conversation right now about, like, wow, you should never bridge into Mitsu. If I didn't win, no one would even be fucking having this conversation right now. No one would be, no one would even be having this conversation about Habakiri too broken. If I didn't fucking win. Right? Let's just say that loud and clear. That if it wasn't fucking obvious already.
Well, actually, Trev, the Farfa viewer dual room managed to put Habakiri in every deck in the game, so
every format for the last 3 years, by the way. Your favorite YouTuber gets their list from me, or they someone who got it from me. Incredible Yu-Gi-Oh! And maybe you're the one that is not playing enough Yu-Gi-Oh! To have a good time with it. Rant over. I just don't like the being included. I really don't like it. The most fun I've ever had playing Yu-Gi-Oh! So if you guys just like think positively a little bit, recognize it's one of the most fun formats we've ever had. Yu-Gi-Oh! Does not have a problem right now. The only problem Yu-Gi-Oh! Has is that it's too fun, and it's taking away from my work time that I'm playing too much Yu-Gi-Oh!
Wait, Trev has a job for me,
guys. I'm basically...
Yeah, I think he announced it on Twitter at some point.
Yu-Gi-Oh! has right. It's too fun. Seriously. Just because... So, I'll also tell you guys one thing. The media is not like... I'm not.
Why would they disconnect?
Players.
Did they see a line? Because I definitely didn't see any lines to victory here.
Coincidentally,
especially if they still have one attack thing, and there's always life bursts.
I don't know if it's a coincidence.
Those always fuck me over.
Change of the structure of YCSs and tournaments, giving credence to better play and better deck building. I don't know about better play, but definitely better deck building. For, you know, getting through 15 rounds and making it to top 8. I don't think it's a coincidence. Those decks got there because they have very consistent, very powerful combos that not a lot of decks can actually. Like, you can't really say this is a coincidence. But, like, yeah, don't get me wrong. Like, there are some shitty decks that win events, etc., etc. But it's not a coincidence that auto-win combos, were the majority of top cuts.
800 matches going on. So if the feature match has an FTK going on, but there's 800 matches around playing at the exact same time, but you look at the feature match like, yo, that feature match has an FTK format. It's not data, not looking at 800 matches.
Okay, but the problem with what he's saying is, he brings up a good point. First and foremost, representation and correlation are very different aspects, right? If every single person at a YCS enters the YCS playing Blood Beast is going to top and win the event, right? Does that make Blood Beast the best deck in the format? No, it doesn't, right?
Why are we using Gladbeat specifically?
But similarly, you can look at that from the complete opposite perspective of this, which is like, look how many.
I'm pretty sure Gladbeat was good at some point, right? Shouldn't you say Warrock? That's funnier.
Also win turn 1 combos, but all of the decks that did make it to top cut are the few FTKs. Therefore, you could logically argue from
The
that
beasts
point
were pretty good
that
during
they top, because those decks are better, they're more powerful.
pre-Edison format.
And what's going to happen at the next
That's
event?
like a rogue deck.
Play them. We'll pick up the new powerful broken insane decks that win the game turn 1. And then the data that goes towards more FTK decks, etc. So yeah, like he has a point in the sense that it's not
Right, so I
representative
summon
of
my
data,
craft.
but now,
I...
because of the
Oh
fact
yeah, I
that
win.
all
Holy
the
shit.
event,
I forgot about the
after 50
life
rounds
loss
of this,
damage I
you
was
can
gonna be
complete
dealing
your
as
deck.
well.
Your deck is really good. You see what
Yeah,
I
I
mean?
won. There
So,
was no
to say that
contest.
it's a problem because not many people played it, sort of putting the cart before the
The
horse.
line I failed to see was the fact that I could deck them out.
100 matches with Gordy.
I
It's 101.
really don't like Urshkigal. When I first tried her with frickin' I wanted to play, I've always wanted to find a deck that's good for her because she's hot. Like, man, the tempo you lose if you're not able to capitalize on the board wipe. Also, it doesn't vanish. It puts them all to the trash. That's absolutely amazing. Again, though, if you can't capitalize on it, people are really good at playing around Urshkigal. At this point, I feel like Orochimaru is the better card to be playing here. Guaranteed removal and servant recursion. Could I maybe play this at 1? Doesn't feel impactful enough at 1. Yeah, fat chance you're ever resolving this more than once. But like, if this is trapped in the bottom of my life cloth, it's really gonna suck, you know? I know it's really stupid to plan around each scenario. Like, you play Gem Knight, right? You put one, because Gem Knight Fusion, best card in the archetype, one of the best cards ever printed, probably way too good, way too powerful. But if you want to get the most value out of it, you gotta play Gem Knight Garnet. But Garnet is a Garnet. It feels really bad whenever you draw it. You play one of it in a 40 size deck, you're gonna draw it one in every 12.50%, which is like, man, I wish it was a fact. I wish it was a factor instead of a percentage. I don't think factor is the correct term for it. Whatever. It's one in every like 6 games. You're bound to open a garnet. Like, is you have to accept that that's something that's going to happen. On a long form tournament, you're bound to open garnets. You have no choice but to accept that. That's the price you have to pay. That's what Yu-Gi-Oh is all about. It's just about the deck building and the probability calculating and trying to build a deck that has the best odds of winning, not precise, not really like that makes the tournament experience and game experience of Yu-Gi-Oh as a whole really really bad though. Anyway, yeah, if I put Urshkigal at one, it's going to happen. She's gonna be trapped in the life cloth. It doesn't have to be at the bottom, but she will occasionally, every few games, she will be trapped in the bottom. She will be trapped as a life cloth, and I'll have no choice but to accept it. Like, yeah, the worst case scenario with one Urshkigal is that she's trapped in the last two life cloths, which means it is actually there is actually way more chances that we get screwed over from that fact. Uh, is like if she's one of our last two life cloths, then the moment she finally reveals herself from one of those two, she's dead. Because, you know, her effect requires her to specifically destroy two of our life cloth. I really wish there was like a calculator for uh card shield mechanics. You've not been very impactful. I'd like to play a ratio of 3-3 of this, honestly. But yours is a life burst that's not very valuable. Not sure if there's anything that's worth trading off for such a thing. No, yeah, no. I guess I wouldn't mind playing 3 copies of Orochi. Like, what do we gain from doing? Like, arguably, there is a reason when I not decked this wasn't in the list originally. I'm realizing that this is actually the best level 1 Signy we can top deck. It's actually insane.
Represented deck. Pure Mitsurugi, pure yummy Mitsu.
I wish Dracotail was the best deck, dude. We would have like actual fun interactive games. Holy crap, that deck is so good.
Shit like that.
True.
Like that's like 70%, 75% of the match. You're gonna look at Canine Crystron as a minor part of it. Rise the opponent's not even remotely in that conversation. Luna lights up there too of a high play deck, which is not an FTK. You just hand trap them to oblivion. They never put up Liger or just kaiju
I
them,
guess for
whatever.
this guy to just enjoy Yu-Gi-Oh in general.
Early.
Trev seems to think that if you have an out to a card, that card is not a
Because that's
problem,
the exact same mindset that I
right?
do,
Like
but like,
it really does feel
we can
like
have fun
if you
with
can
something,
stop
but
a
we
card,
can
that card is not an issue.
realize that
But
things
like,
can always be
yeah, you
better,
had
you
to use a
know?
card to stop the problem. Therefore, it doesn't stop
It
it
is
from being
really
a problem.
sad. I
Conceptually,
love
it's still a
Yu-Gi-Oh! I
problem,
wish
right?
more people
Just
could see
infinite
the
deck
same
zone,
joy me and
right?
Triff
Just
has
mash them
with the
X.
game, but
Kaiju. So many answers. Gorgon, Underworld Goddess. Like,
Konami
there's just
makes it
a
really
plethora
hard
of answers.
to do that.
90% of the meta, 95% of the meta, zero FTK. They're all back and forth shit. So rather than complaining, build your deck to beat that 95%. And I would love for the other 5% to be gone because that just means my win rate just increases from 90% to 95%. I'm down. But the doom and gloom is why you guys are probably having a bad time. Just recognize the problem at hand of the decks you have trouble with. Just simply build your deck to beat, and you're gonna have a great time doing it. Trust me. When you're winning, you're funny.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's a good point. I just think he did articulate that really badly. If you lose to certain FTKs and combos and stuff, you can deck build around it. You can play other cards. You can play other archetypes and stuff. But it, again, sort of like it's not really dealing with the root cause, right? The problem, the root problem is like, okay, I can play a deck that doesn't lose control, that doesn't lose the key barrier, but like, I have to see the issue. It's like those cards are so insane, so broken, so powerful. I am willingly opting to play a different deck and archetype because of how good those cards are. Like, you see, like that's proving how good those cards are. But anyway, um, like I said, I might be completely wrong on this. I don't play the current TCG format, but I feel like you don't need to play the current TCG format to really understand and look at these things like from a conceptual perspective, right? From a analytical point of view, right? You can still look at numbers, you can still look at theory, sort of understand and grasp what's being said without
Maybe there's a
actually like
white with a life burst I can
having
try
experience with the
playing.
format, so I might not be the best person to talk about this, but I don't think it's a coincidence that this is all like such a problem that people are bringing up. Floodgates have existed for a long time in Yu-Gi-Oh! It's why I don't play Modern. But ultimately, he is correct in the sense that there's only so much you can do in terms of complaining. At the end of the day, you either do what I do, play Modern, or you deal with it and accept that there's going to be variance in your games. That's really what it boils down to. Let's look at some comments. Winning equals perfect format, perfect game. Losing game sucks. What is Konami doing? I could already smell the reaction video. You would have been a 4-time YCS champ if you didn't have a problem. Right? Cry laugh emoji. Yeah, but when a YCS top 8 is only decks with floodgates like Protoss, Barrier, Mjolnir, the people are going to start to copy them, and then meta becomes Floodgate Turbo. We have to admit that Vanquish was holding the meta, and the pre-banless meta was the best we ever had.
I like this
I don't know
one.
why they hit Vanquish so hard, by the way. That was really surprising. Yugo doesn't have a problem. How come the finals didn't go past turn 2 without a timer? How come the opponent didn't even try to win on their turn in the final? If we watch the Super Bowl, NBA final, the World Cup, and it's all one team playing, and the other team not even trying because they can't do anything, what would that sentiment be? I think that people hate most about is the non-games. When the game consistently just outright concludes Floodgate, it becomes super boring and unsatisfying. That's why I love a deck like Draco Tile branded, because there's no interactions. Okay, even if you only lost one game to a Floodgate, that's still one game too many. No cap, I swear I was not good enough to do Yummy. I just simply admit it's not my playstyle. I picked up Radiant Typhoon and have not gone to a tournament where I have not topped since. The majority of the game I win first place. I struggle so much more when I had
Target
Yummy and I didn't top very
Signy.
often. Now I'm
I'm
just having
guessing
fun at
it
topping.
means
This is the best.
R Signy.
Okay, I mean, sort of unrelated to the point. I'm glad you're enjoying Typhoon though. Trev, I gotta admit, this is the most positive Yu-Gi-Oh video I have seen in years. Well, that's a good takeaway from this. It is a positive video. Anyway, yep, that'll do it. Alright, thanks everyone for watching. That is Trev's React. Is he correct? Is he right? I think he has a lot of good points. I just think he's not really articulating them very well. And his personality is the type of personality that is very positive in general. He is a very hype man. He is a very positive dude. He will sort of downplay problems because he's very passionate. I get it.
Ooh, I like this.
But I do think he's kind of missing the
This
tree before the forest,
this
or whatever the term
reads
is. All right, bye bye.
technically when we open this, we have more chances to try getting one of our servants. More ways to cycle through our deck. I feel like that's really needed. Really valuable in our deck. Just remember, we're playing mid-range here. Can't play too fast, can't play too slow. Whoa. Plus 7,000 is crazy. That puts this guy at 10,000. I don't think it's what we want or even really need, though. Ooh, removal. Yeah, I think I'll stick with Haniel. I mean, she's cute. Sometimes you gotta go off vibes. Gotta say, the culture of disconnecting, rage quitting, I don't like it. When I see the writing on the walls, I'm dead, honorably hit that concede button. Let's watch some Lalaru gaming before we go, I guess. These guys have just started. I can't. Damn it. God, you awakened too. Oh, Jesus Christ, turn 7. Zero nothings. Oh, we're playing white-red this time. Jesus. We're just playing anything and everything on Lalaru. I do see how it works. It is just the ratios I really can't decide on. How many copies of the things do you play? Again, I'm gonna wait until the format gets solved rather. Cause like, I'm bad at math. I'm mostly vibes based and my vibes are never good. Like what? When are we gonna see these? Huh. Very soon, I suppose. But it'll be a while before we see some tournament results over in Japan. We've got 5 things. The usual amount of defensive arts we play is 2. Are those 2 gonna be enough? More importantly, do we have the guards? At least survive the guaranteed Lyric damage. Something I think would be funny is if the Lyric face went first before the Signy face. I like the face positionings as they are. Again, We Cross is just such a well designed game. Like it's ridiculous how good it is. Lalari just doesn't feel comfortable to play. It's trying to do so many things. You have Enter Charging things, you have Awaken things, and then you have Spell things. And there aren't enough cards for you to just focus entirely on one of the 3. You have to invest in all 3, and that's gonna lead to inconsistency. Maybe this is just my Yu-Gi-Oh brain here, but I like decks that have consistent game plans. Especially when we can consistently execute said game plan. Dragoon's always gonna be trying to summon Dragoon. Vanquished Soul Canine's always gonna be trying to get their Xyz and hand attributes set up. Yummy's always gonna be trying to get the synchros alongside with a Yummy Snatchy. Mitsurugi's always gotta be fucking Mitsurugi. Ooh, this is my first time seeing the other craft. This one, this ender ripping, doesn't seem doesn't seem like it'll be all that good. Oh, and also our fucking abilities are deactivated. What are we doing? This guy isn't gonna last until next turn for her to actually be able to activate her ability. I guess we're just that desperate because we're out of resources. Like this is do or die. By the looks of things, this is die. Because our only hope now is the Larig attack to go through, and considering the Mew hasn't left the game yet, it's probably because they do indeed have it. Oh whoa, Altark Ancient Slash, I didn't know that existed. Wait, how many defensive abilities have we activated? One, two. Yeah, we're fucked. There's no way you're running a third defensive ability here. Just scoop, please. Oh my god, it's never been so over. Honestly, from all the games I've seen, Lalaru just seems really bad. Doesn't she? There never seems to be a good opportunity to activate Unchained. Like, why the hell do you have to flip yourself for this? Why do you need to tap down yourself for that? That's so dumb. Should have played Dawn of Disaster instead.